Good evening, sir. Shall we start the session now, sir? Sir, am I audible to you?
Am I audible to you, Nikita ma'am?
Yes, sir. Now you are audible. Good evening, sir.
The voice is not coming.
Uh, don't know, sir. Maybe there was having some issues. Shall we start now, sir?
Can I start the session, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Sure. Uh, Participants, am I audible to you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Okay. So let's start the session. Learn as you will live forever and live like you will die tomorrow. A very positive good evening to all of you with this positive thought. I, Nikita Khandelwal, heartily welcome you all on behalf of Research Foundation of India. It's 5th of March, 8th day of International Training Program, FDP on Advanced Tools and Technique for Research Methodology, which is organized by World Innovators University and Research Foundation of India and is sponsored by HERF ARGA. So the topic of today's session is Understanding Ethical Issues and Plagiarism. But before we start the session, I would like to share some achievement journey of our today's subject expert, Dr. Sumanta Dutta, sir. A very good evening to you, sir. Dr. Sumanta Datta sir is presently associated with the Postgraduate and Research Department of Commerce at St. Xavier College, Calcutta, under the University of Calcutta. Sir has over 19 years of experience in teaching and research, and he has contributed three edited books, one case book, one research book, and from a reputed publishing house from India. Sir has written a book titled Research and Publication Ethics in Social Science for MPhil and PhD scholars, which was mandated by the UGC for pre-PhD registration. Sir has also contributed more than 40 research papers in various national and international journals, including UGC-CARE, and Sir acted as a resource person on reserved national level workshop organized by various research bodies in India on the theme research ethics and way to write research paper in social science. He acted as a reviewer from the desk of the editor in chief, the Journal of India and Asian Studies, Institute of Indian Studies. Sorry for the interruption, students. Sir, you are not audible to us.
Can anyone tell me that whether my voice is audible or not? Because I cannot
Yes, sir, now
hear
it's
anything from
audible.
Nikita ma'am.
Yes, sir, now it's audible. Am I audible to you, sir?
Am I audible? Yes, no or yes, which one? I am in doubt.
Sir, you're audible, sir.
Yes, sir. You're audible, sir.
Yes, sir, you are audible. So let's continue with this. Sir has acted as a reviewer from the desk of the editors in chief, the Journal of Indian and Asian Studies, the Institute of Indian Studies, HUFS, Korea. At present, he is acted as an associate editor of biannual peer reviewed referred journal, Name International Journal of Academic Research and Development. Sir, as work has been cited well both in SSRN top 10 downloaded list as well as in Google Scholar.
Can
For his
anyone just put it in the chat box whether I'm audible to all of you or not?
Yes, sir, you are audible to all of us.
Okay. So with due permission, I'm starting my session. Okay.
Um,
Uh,
okay, sir, sure,
keep in
sure.
mind. Okay. Thank you, Kajal ma'am. Thank you so much. Uh, okay. So I can start the session without delaying any time.
Yes, sir, we
Already it's
heartily
been
welcome
delayed.
you for this
So
session.
I'm sharing my
Start the
screen.
session.
Thanks. I hope all of you can see this particular slide.
Yes, sir, we can see the slide.
Okay. Uh, Thanks to Research Foundation of India for giving me this opportunity to focus on a very pertinent issue for understanding ethical issues and plagiarism. And the online FTP program organized by Research Foundation of India. I'm thankful to Ajay Jain sir and Sanjay sir for giving me this opportunity once again so that I can take a session on this particular issue, which is very close to my heart, understanding the ethical issues and plagiarism. Okay. Now, most important thing as a researcher, I think all of you must agree with me that when we are doing research, there is a tripod relationship is there. The tripod relationship indicate there must be a researcher, there must be a research, and there must be an organization. When you are like in the left hand side, if you can see, you are a researcher, and when you are doing a research, maybe your name is associated with some institution, maybe as a scholar, maybe as a faculty member. So automatically, whatever the topics you are dealing with, it must have a greater impact on enhancing the image and the credibility of your institution. I have just put forth a particular example of RFI. So that means whenever you are doing any type of any sort of research, okay, maybe in the particular domain of your research, automatically it must have a significant coexistence between this tripod relationship between the members involved into this. That is a research, the theme, the researcher, and the RFI or the institution. Okay. Now, in this context, the most important thing you can ask me that why we are talking about today on the ethical issues of research and the plagiarism. That you know that we are in the transition form, we are entering into the new education policy 2020. And the most important thing into this particular era is that now we are now moving into the 4 years bachelor's program. And where 1 year is considered to be a master's program. The most important thing is that if a particular student opt for a 4 years undergraduate honors with research, they can directly go for PhD program. The point is that there is a problem, but there lies another problem. That are they competent? Are they aware of the ethical part of research when we are undertaking research? Or maybe it is applicable for an MPhil scholar, PhD scholar, as well as senior faculty members and the junior faculty members. Whether to what extent we are aware of all the ethical academic integrity related matters. Because that is very important. Because if you are a professor, you are a faculty member, definitely the entire responsibility goes to you on your shoulder. Okay, so that is the most important thing. In the ways to come, are we giving or creating an awareness among the students, among the scholars relating to the maintenance of the academic integrity? But you can ask me one question. By virtue of this taking a session, I cannot impart an ethical side of research among you. But the most important thing is that what I can do for you, I can create an awareness so that you can later on find out your own discourse, which one is right and which one is wrong for you. That is a very important part of it when undertaking any kind of research. Now, in this context, when you ask me one question, that research-related misconduct. So, when happened this unethical practice? So, I can say one thing, that research-related misconduct can happen at any point of time. It is not a new phenomenon. Okay, it can happen at any point of your journey. If you are being a research scholar, even though when you are not a research scholar, when you are a postgraduate student, when you are doing a research of your own, when after your doctorate, when you are doing some postdoctoral research work, at any point of time, this research-related misconduct can happen. So, You should aware of all those things so that, and each and every phase of your life, you should maintain the research integrity. Otherwise, you are in trouble. Because in a small academic fraternity, we are all aware of each other. And that is the most important thing. If we are not looking after each other, then automatically it will create our most important part of it. So maintain the academic integrity. Now, in this connection, how we can maintain? Is there any way of? Yes. The most important thing here, we have to understand the question related to research fraud. Research fraud is an unethical process. If we can talk about the particular concept of research fraud from the concept of the United States Office of Research Integrity, they have redefined the particular research fraud into taken into consideration three important parameters: fabrication, falsification, and the plagiarism. So they try to redefine the term unethical process or academic dishonesty by virtue of the term called research fraud in the three possible manner: fabrication, falsification, and the plagiarism. Now, in order to explore those terms, we will take two cases. Case one focus on the fabrication and falsification, and case two focus on the term plagiarism. And we try to explain or explore better, we can use the term explore, to see what type of things are fall under this category, what are the penalty can be imposed on it, and what are the way out. Coming to the case one first. Now, case one is very interesting. Data fabrication, but what happened here? You are a scholar, you are a researcher, but you don't have time, and you do not have too much ability to write immediately at the very initial stage. So what unethical practice you have adopted? You have collected the data from a good reputed journal. The data set, in all the tables you have collected from the data, you can put the table into your MS Word and then rephrase the interpretation in your own language. Or you can say you can do a paraphrasing of it. That means actually the data you have not collected, the data you have not collected and data you have not analyzed. But entire work is being projected in a new paper with a new title with the best of the fake data. That is called a case of data fabrication. If you ask me, based on my experience is concerned, over more than 81 lectures I have conducted on that area, and so many other issues and interacted with so many scholars across the pan-India. So fabrication is very common. Okay, there is a tendency among some of the new big scholars that I can do something better. I am not saying that it is applicable for all, but there is some people are there who wants to take the opportunity of this fake data and try to take care of it. Now, data falsification is something different. Data falsification means here the researcher has undertaken the experiment, but suppose the experiment will not give you the outcome what you desired. So automatically what you can do, you can manipulate the data, you can change the data set, and then run the software and try to get a good positive result. Sometimes what happens, it is also applicable when you are doing a pilot study, and automatically what happens, you have to give report to your mentor. And if the report is not good enough, automatically the mentor will not satisfy. To satisfy your mentor, sometimes what you are doing, you are manipulating the data, rerun the software, and get the result. So this is called a falsification. Now, if both the things are happening, or suppose if we assume in that way, suppose we have written one paper based on data fabrication or falsification, then what will, for the purpose of giving an example in this context, in relation to data fabrication and falsification, I can take a very basic assumption. Assume that there are three members are there, three authors are collaborate to write a papers, and the most important thing, the paper is being developed based on data fabrication and falsification. Out of this three, A, B, and C author, B is the corresponding person or corresponding author. Okay, now what happened? What is the penalty consequence can we live with? The paper was presented, the paper was sent for publication, and after the checking, the paper was got accepted. Now, after the publication happened, later on, the publishing house came to know the entire dataset is being falsified or fabricated. Now, what they will do? They will inform the matter to your HEI. Okay. They will inform the matter to the HEI. And now, it is a responsibility of the head of the HEI. It may be dean, it may be the director, it may be the HOD, head of the department, who will impose a penalty on the person who is considered to be the corresponding author or the first or main author. Okay. Now you can say, put an argument in favor of your, okay, that yes, I am the main author, or maybe I am the corresponding author, but I am not responsible for collecting the data. Now there arises then whether we will exempt the rest of the two authors. No. According to the guideline given by COPE, it is being stated very clearly that the person, the corresponding author or the main author is not only liable to penalized, it is a responsibility of the other co-authors to verify and check the authenticity of that suspected data. If they have not done, automatically they are full of guilty and they are equally penalized for that, just like the corresponding author. So the penalty can be imposed, but what penalty is being imposed, that is entire freedom is being given to the head of the HCI or the institution specific. Okay. Now, another side of it is from the point of view of the publishing house. Now, what publishing house they can do? Once the paper was published, I already mentioned you the assumption, then they can do most important thing, they will remove the particular paper from the scientific document, even though it is a post-publication. So from the post-publication, they will remove the particular paper from their own repository. This particular process is called retraction. And retraction have a long impact on the academic career of any faculty members as well as research scholar. So my suggestion is that don't go for data fabrication, don't go for falsification of the data or manipulating data in the short run, so that it must have a long run impact in your academic career. Okay, so that is retraction. But in the context of the retraction, I likely to show you some of the very important statistical data pertaining to retraction. How deep-rooted the problem it was, you can understand by the particular article that was published in the Nature magazine. If you can see this particular information that was published in the Nature, okay, it is being stated more than 10,000 research papers were retracted in 2023, a new record. So what does it mean? That means data is being fabricated, data is being falsified, and or image manipulation is being done. And that is why after publication, the papers are removed from the SAGE database. So you can imagine, and the same picture I try to reflect from the IEEE publication. If you go by the IEEE publication, you can see the number of the particular information that is being projected. See, more than 8,000 IEEE conference papers were retracted between 2009 to 11. And if you see the current database, it is also a rising trend. So articles are being retracted is huge. So my suggestion is that being a researcher, being a faculty member in the domain of social science or in commerce and management, my suggestion is that please don't go for a retract. Don't go for a data fabrication and the falsification. Okay, it will hamper the academic credential of a particular responsible scholar as well as faculty members. Now, another type of these things happen that is called the image manipulation. Now, sometimes what happens, we are taking image for the purpose of using for our research work. The most important thing is that in case of image manipulation, we have to see something. Whether the image that is being, are we taking appropriate permission? Are we following the guideline of the Creative Commons license? So here, most important thing is CC BY. CC, if the particular paper got downloaded from online and where the symbol was there CC BY, it means that is given credit to the original creator. If the credit is being given to the original creator, that means how we can put in my dissertation, how we can put in my research paper or article. Here you have to give the image, below write it down the figure 1, and then the theme of the particular image and the source where from you have taken, including the access. If it is CC BY SA, it means shared alike. Whatever the image you got, you are not able to use any kind of artificially intelligence-driven software to make the color bright or enlarge the size of the image. That you are not allowed. That is called shared alike. Shared alike. The image that you have collected, if it is written NC, that means it can be used only for non-commercial purpose. It cannot be used for a commercial purpose. Non-commercial purpose means education purpose or maybe for a classroom teaching purpose that you can use. If it is CC BY ND, that means no derivation of the work is being permitted. Suppose you have downloaded an image. The image is representing from a journal of a particular specific newly developed model developed by someone across the globe. When you try to use this image for the purpose of your own study and you try to extend this model and is implemented in the context of your geographic area. So at that time, better, my suggestion is that you can take a written permission from the publishing house or from the author itself so that you are in a safe position. Otherwise, you should be treated as a fabrication and the falsification, particularly in the context of image manipulation. But which images then I can use? If this particular CC by 0 is there, which is known as public domain, also known as 0, if the Creative Commons license 0 is there, then automatically that images we can use for the purpose of our any work. It may be office purpose, it may be administrative purpose, it can be used for your research purpose. For example, if you can subscribe for Shutterstock, you can download the images from the Shutterstock and you can use this image because these are all available in the World Wide Web. And the creator has given the equal right to all the users of World Wide Web so that they can use their image for the purpose of any activity. So if that norms is being violated, unethical practice may happen. So you should be very careful while using images for the purpose of your dissertation, article writing, as well as development of the research manuscript. Okay. Now so this is one part of it. Coming to the next part called case 2. Case 2 is related to the concept of the plagiarism. Now, there are various definitions that are available in the context of plagiarism, but generally the plagiarism, if we try to define it from the viewpoint of the UGC has defined it as an act of dishonest and breach of ethics. So you can breach, you can be dishonest, but you know that down the line people can identify that most of your papers are plagiarized. So people will not recognize you that you are a true contributor in the field of academic area. So that is why suggestion is that please avoid plagiarism. So in the context, I can put forth one such example in front of you. Now, when we put this question in front of you, that you can see this particular case, that Anjali has submitted a paper for publication and presentation in a conference. And once he has presented, he got a best paper award. Okay, and also the paper got accepted for publication in an edited volume. But suddenly what happened, one of the editor came across that the paper has been used from a social science research network repository. So what is your observation? Can we penalize Anjali for that? There are several viewpoints that may arise that yes, we can penalize Anjali or may not be. The most important thing we have to see in this case, this is an example that I have drafted from my book based on a real life example. Okay, I have observed those things, and that is why I put forth in the form of a case. The most important thing you have to understand, go deep root into the problem and try to identify whether Anjali is aware of this issue of plagiarism, whether Anjali knows how to overcome the problem of plagiarism, whether the institution has provided the proper appropriate knowledge, dissemination of information about the plagiarism. So if not, then we cannot penalize Anjali. If when Anjali is aware of, in spite of that, she has adopted this unfair means, definitely Anjali is liable to be penalized for that event. So that is very important. So in this context, the most important thing is for us, we have to see what are the various ways of plagiarism can happen and how we can overcome it. Okay. Now, from our end, the plagiarism can be done in a four possible way. 3 is here. One is called patchwork plagiarism. The concept of patchwork is very common for an undergraduate scholar, undergraduate students in school level, and and the researcher at the very beginning. What they are doing, they are collecting the data from several sources and put it in a particular in an MS Word, appropriately rearranging it and then submitting it. So at that time, what happened? Where from they have taken which part of it, they don't know. And neither they have written in their own language, neither they keep the essence of that particular language, as if that is his own or her own creative form. So the patchwork plagiarism is very crucial stage, in the initial stage of a particular young scholar or the undergraduate and postgraduate students. So this need to be avoided by appropriate source citation or attribution. Now, coming to the next part of it, the direct plagiarism. word by word transcription from someone else. Definitely, in a couple of months ago, when I'm taking a session for a university in Mumbai, there's a one young scholar from English asked me this question. That sir, I am doing a research work on Shakespeare. So I have to quote Shakespeare as I cannot change it. So don't you think that this will attract the point called direct plagiarism? One law student also asked me the similar question that my work is related to Supreme Court verdict. So I have to quote Supreme Court verdict on a regular basis. So don't you think that when I'm quoting the decision taken by the judges, automatically if I put it, automatically it will attract direct plagiarism? The answer is yes. But there is a way out. Now, in case of avoiding the direct plagiarism, you can do one thing. You can go for quote. The quote may be of two types. One is called short quote, and the other is called long quote. If it is less than 40 words, it's called short quote. And if it is more than 40 words, it is called long quote. For the short quote, if it is less than 40 words, you have to put it within double quote, and you have to give parenthetical citation. The term parenthetical citation means first bracket start, surname of the author, comma, year of publication, and bracket close. But if it's a long quote, more than 40 words, you have to put it in a separate paragraph without having double quote, quote and unquote. And it should be in a Times New Roman 10 and make it italic. And then at the end, on the right hand side, give a parenthetical citation. In that two possible way, the direct plagiarism concept can be avoided. The third point is that idea plagiarism. In case of idea plagiarism, what happened? Suppose I will try to tell you a very interesting story that I came across when I am taking a session for a university in the Northeast. One madam told me one very interesting story. She told me that, sir, you know that I shared one of my idea with one of my fellow colleagues when we are having a cup of tea in the teacher's room. And later on, due to my family-related problem and academic and other administrative problem, I'm unable to translate my idea into a write-up paper. But my fellow colleague took up the idea from me and developed a paper and published it in a peer-reviewed journal. So don't you think it is a plagiarism? Definitely it is a case of idea plagiarism. But we cannot quantify the amount of this idea plagiarism. Idea plagiarism can also happen in another possible way. Suppose you've gone through a very beautiful paper that is available in online, and it may be in English in the domain of commerce and management. Suppose, assuming that you've gone through it, it strikes your mind. What you have done, you just make a replica of it, but in your vernacular language, and publish it in a particular journal having an ISSN number and the peer review policy, or maybe listed in the UGC-CARE in a vernacular journal. So don't you think it is your own work? No. Definitely it is not your work, and neither you can take the credit out of it. It is a work of someone else. You have just translated it in your own. So that is why this is also a kind of idea plagiarism. So both are not quantifiable, so we cannot immediately take. So what is my suggestion? Suggestion is that don't disclose your idea to some of your anyone until and unless it is being materialized in the form of a publication. Okay. Coming to the next part or the last part of it, okay, they are called self-plagiarism. Now you can say that one important thing that, sir, I have written one paper and you have done a very valuable contribution in that particular area. Now you are writing another paper. By that time you don't have time. What you are doing, since you have already written one paper on that domain, you start collecting the data from your earlier paper. Taken 60 or 70% data from your earlier paper and start reworking on it and develop another new paper. So once you are taking the things from your earlier paper, it is also an act of plagiarism. You can ask me why. It is my own paper, but already it is published. It is not your property right now. It's the property of the publishing house. Okay, it is a property of the under the Creative Commons license or the particular authority. You cannot take it. Yes, if you take it something, you have to basically you have to cite. That is called self-citation. So to avoid self-plagiarism, just like the other forms of plagiarism, you can avoid self-plagiarism by virtue of self-citation. Now, question arises when I'm writing a paper in a particular new paper, and when I'm quoting someone from my earlier paper, So at that time, self-citation is workable. But how much self-citation can I do? But to do that or to understand that, we have to go back to the earlier concept and we have to see that two types of self-citation is available. One is I can cite my own paper, that is called synchronous self-citation. And my friends can cite my paper, that is called dichronous self-citation or co-author self-citation. So here, the most effective is that co-author self-citation. If the co-author cite your paper, then it is much more acceptable without author's own self-citation. Another point that strikes your mind, that how much citation can I do in my new paper? 2, 5, 10, whatever. Generally, 2 is acceptable. More than 5 or 10 is not desirable actually. It automatically means you have taken maximum or majority portion of your idea from your earlier paper. So 1 maximum to 2 is the self-citation that you can do. Generally, according to the median percentage is concerned, 12.7% is the maximum median percentage that you go for a self-citation. Less is acceptable, more is try to avoid it, and self-citation by your co-authors are more acceptable. In that way, self-citation can work and to avoid the problem pertaining to self-plagiarism. Now, there arises one important issue. Like you can ask me one question that what are the items as per the UGC guideline can be excluded before the thesis is going to be checked through a plagiarism software like Authenticate and Turnitin. Okay. Now, here the points are there. All small similarity of minor nature, all the generic terms, standard statistical terms, symbol, equation, all reference, bibliography, table of content, preface, and acknowledgement. All work and all the quoted work. That means all the quoted work, when I am using the term quoted work, it means always remember, I already mentioned you short quote and long quote. If you are publishing the short quote and long quote with due necessary permission and attribution, this will not fall under the plagiarism policy as directed by UGC in their guideline 2018 is concerned. Okay, but in spite of this knowledge, if you undertake some unethical practice, what happens? Okay, at that time, you are being imposed with a penalty. And that case of penalty is such that there are 4 levels of penalties are there, 0, 1, 2, and 3. Now, in case of this 0 level, they are minor nature, so there is no penalty for it. Level 1, 10 to 40% is there. Automatically, it is applicable for the PhD scholars. So the scholar are not eligible to submit his thesis within an extended period of 6 months. If it lies within 40 to 60%, that can be extended to 1 year. And if it's more than 60%, then automatically, according to the recommendation of some plagiarism committee, the registration of that particular student can be cancelled. So there is a high chance that if the committee will decide that I will cancel the registration of that student, they can do it. Okay, but it is their discretion. Okay, that is not mandatory. Now, this particular rule is applicable for the scholars, come faculty members. Suppose a scholar or a faculty has written one paper and he is associated with a particular institution and they submitted a paper and when it's got plagiarized and the publishing house informed the matter to the authority. So at that time, what happened? If it's 0 level, up to 10%, there is no penalty. If it's between 10 to 40%, automatically the authorities like dean, directors or head, whatever who are maybe the nomenclature, he will request the particular author come faculty members to withdraw the paper from the said journal. If it is more than 40 to 60%, automatically, they not only ask you to withdraw, 1 annual increment shall be stopped. And they are not allowed to guide any scholar, master's, MPhil, PhD scholars for a period of 2 months. If it is more than 60%, what happened? Automatically, they will not withdraw their papers. 2 annual increment shall be stopped. And they are not allowed to guide any scholar for a period of 3 years. So automatically, this is one of the most interesting part of the penalty imposition. Now, point arises on what basis, whose recommendation this penalty should be levied. The rule is that, as per the UGC guideline, UGC stated that 2 ethical committee must be formed by every HEI who are running PhD programs or for the entire institution. One is called Departmental Academic Integrity Panel, that is called DAIP. Okay, and there is 3 members panel, and there is an Institution Academic Integrity Panel. Okay, 4 members panel. So DAIP formed department-wise, and IAIP was formed for the entire HEI. DIP will report any unethical or unethical related plagiarism related issue within 45 days to the IIP. And IIP is the highest authority who will take the final decision what penalty they will impose by following the guideline of the UGC. So you must think about it very carefully and then act accordingly. My suggestion is that in this context, what course of action do we adopt while avoiding this plagiarism? The suggestion is that don't copy, write out in your own language, don't recycle, don't go for fabrication, don't go for falsification, don't go for image manipulation. If you see that image under Creative Commons license, please follow the guideline and ask for permission according to the CC by SA, CC by NC, and CC by ND. Okay. And lastly, it is the responsibility of every HEI. It is the responsibility of every senior faculty member and a junior faculty member to create an awareness among their students and scholars relating to the types of plagiarism and how to overcome it. Why students should follow an ethical culture while developing their paper. That is very, very important and the need of the hour. Okay, this is very important. Okay, so these are the very important issue. One point or one extra point I want to share with all of you. I think without that, we are unable to finish the entire session. Okay, I think all of you right now, if you are present in a social media platform like me, okay, now you can see that one important thing, you have seen this kind of ad. If you want to be an author, okay, fourth author position in a particular trade-related journals or articles or having an ISBN, please pay money. Okay, so pay money, you can become an author. Very interesting, no? It's very lucrative, but don't go for it. Okay, it will not give you fame. It will not help you that people will recognize you that you are an author. Because people know that you can lend your name only by sake of money so that you can want to create the agency of credibility in the arena of book publication or article publication. That is very important. The most important thing, if you can go and think about this issue, one interesting observation I got from a mail, okay, that if you want to publish book, see the point, the one screenshot I have taken from the mail that I got, okay, and I have kept it as a repository so that I can show all of you that publication and the amount is given. If you want to become a first author, please pay 8,000. Second author, 7,000. Third author, 6,000. Fourth author, 5,000. My question is that, are you competent? Are you so why, if you're eligible, if you're competent, why not you can write a particular book of your own? Why it depends on those kind of people? You do something creative in your own work so that people can recognize you. These are all unethical practice. And that leads to a bigger problem of authorship. Now, so our last case, 3, focus on the authorship related issue. Now, in case of this authorship related issue, COPE have given a very specific guideline. Not only COPE, Indian Council of Medical Journal Editors, that is the highest body of maintaining the ethical in medical research, IGME, they have also specified and agree on that particular point that who become an author. The following 3 points we have found. One, the person who is contributing significantly, not only concept-wise, but also the person can give the design and framework of the paper. Some person can become an author by collecting the data, by acquisition analysis. Some person can be joined as an author by virtue of his technical and sound knowledge on statistical domain. Some person can join who has a very good command over drafting and editing the work. So if their intellectual contribution is being recognized according to their weightage, they are being author according to first author, second author, third author, and fourth author. In that way, the authorship can be defined. In this context, the most interesting part that we have to check that the types of authorship as defined by COPE the highest body on maintaining the research integrity, Committee on Publication Ethics, they have classified and categorized three types of authorship problem: post, case, and gift. Post means, suppose you are unable to write, you have paid money to a particular person, the person has written a paper for you, and automatically you are publishing the paper in your name without having a minimum contribution. Yes, you have done only one contribution, you have just replaced, you have written your name only and your institutional affiliation. That is the ghost authorship. Guest authorship is something different. You are a scholar and you came across with one renowned professor in the field of commerce and management, or maybe in any field according to your choice of discipline. And you know that if you incorporate the name of that professor as a first author, there is a high chance your paper got selected. So what you have done, you have tactfully included the name of that person, that professor, senior professor, okay, as a first author, and you put yourself as a second author. That is the case of guest authorship. Why you have done? Because you have some inherent benefit that you want to take. Gift authorship is something different. In case of gift authorship, what happened? In case of gift authorship, suppose this is more applicable when you are working in a private setup. Like you are working in a private setup and you want to put yourself in the limelight. It's not possible in a private setup to put yourself in the limelight. You have to go for a very hard work. If by virtue of research you can put yourself in the limelight, so what you have done, you have written a paper, you are a vivid researcher. So what you can do, you can incorporate the name of your dean as a first author and a head as a second author, and you put yourself as a third author. What you have done, you have gifted your valuable contribution to someone else. Why? To put yourself in a most advantageous position. That is the case of gift authorship. This type of three types of authorships are there, and these are creating vulnerability of any young researcher. This, my suggestion, don't go for it. Create your own uniqueness in the field of your academic arena by virtue of your own eligibility and creativity. That is the most important thing. Okay, people across the globe will definitely give you recognition later on down the line, but it will take some time. Okay, so what group has suggested? They suggested that all the scholars, young scholar starting in the national stage or senior scholar, GRF and SRF, senior professor, all must create their own ORCID ID. Even though you are submitting a paper for a local conference, please, when you are submitting, incorporate your ORCID ID. Okay, so ORCID ID becomes a must. It is a free of charge, nothing you have to pay, but you must create. When you are submitting a paper for India Science, Sage, Taylor and Francis and Willy, definitely the person who is submitting the paper or the corresponding author, and all the authors must possess this ORCID ID. Okay, that is a very important. Another important thing, another suggestion came from COPE is that you must go and follow the guideline which is called Think, Check and Submit. Okay, for getting all necessary support for a scholar so that they can guide them and put them in the right direction in respect of the checklist that will help them to for journal about what to do and what not to do. This is a very, very important website recommended by COPE for the scholars as well as for the faculty members.
Sir,
So I hope
sir,
all of you
respected sir,
definitely follow
sir,
this
sir,
particular
sir,
portal
sir,
on a
sir,
regular
मुझे
basis
मुझे
so
थोड़ा
that you can
सर
update
सर
yourself.
सर मेरी आवाज आ रही है सर
One
आवाज आ रही है
important
मेरी
interesting question I got very recent time. In a one particular session, one particular student asked me, sir, can I write an article using ChatGPT? Is there any issue? Okay. And is there any problem? Can I incorporate that ChatGPT as my co-author? Because I have taken help from that particular AI-based platform. So can I incorporate it? So yes, that struck my mind when the question is being put by the scholar in front of me. And I given a very interesting observation that I have. Okay, because when I go to the UGC circular or guideline, or when I go to a COPE guideline, no, nothing is being there in the context of ChatGPT. Can I incorporate ChatGPT as an author, or can I use ChatGPT? And is there any issue when I'm developing the content? Nowadays, it is a growing tendency among the scholars, and even they are not spending their quality time for drafting their questionnaire as well. They're putting their keywords and asking ChatGPT, please draft a questionnaire for me. They are developing a questionnaire from the metadata analysis, and then scholars are taking it and putting as if that he or she has done. That is totally unethical, because your domain of work is not possible for that particular intelligent-based driven by software to understand everything, because the socio-economic context that particular machine learning cannot understand. Okay, so what is the suggestion? Chatbot cannot be an author because they cannot fulfill the basic requirement of an authorship. The authors should be transparent among each other. What is the allocation of work that must be made properly? They are responsible for their own work. Okay, and that cannot be possible for a chatbot to demarket the particular work between one author with another author. So, according to Indian Council of Medical Journal Editors, they said, no, we not recognize chatbot as an author. We cannot recognize any article developed based on chatbot is acceptable. At now we have authenticated alternative. They are embedded the new form of artificially intelligence-driven plagiarism checking. In spite of the fact, if we do not have authenticated alternative, what we can do? We can take the help of any open software where, like uh, ChatGPT, GPT-0, okay, Winston AI, we can take the help of Winston AI and GPT-0 for checking the small work that is being to of the students and the scholars, whether it is to check whether it is being detected through a developed through an artificially intelligence software like ChatGPT or not. Okay, so this is all about the session that I'm going to take with all of you. I hope all of you enjoy the session, and thanks to Research Foundation of India, thanks to uh, Jay sir once again for again calling me to take a session for RFI. I am obliged, I'm very much grateful to my mentor institute, Research Foundation of India, for this. Thank you. Thank you all.
Hello, sir. Sir, I am one of the participants. Can you hear me? Sir, I am one of the participants who are attending this workshop.
And please put the question in the chat box, because I cannot hear anything from anyone else. I don't know why. Gayatri ma'am, please write down the if you have any question in the chat box. Ekta ma'am, please request everyone to, if they have any question, they can put in the chat box.
Participants, if you are having any query,
I
please
cannot
just
hear
ask.
anyone anything from anyone. Maybe I don't know why it is happening. Okay, a very good question from Victoria. So the thing is that yes, the thing I hope uh, you can use it. So you know that right now that we have a quill bolt as well. By virtue of the quill bolt, you can do this kind of things. But automatically, what happened? They can change and rephrase it. The most important thing. But I don't think that they will keep it. The essence of the particular theme that you have taken from the original article. Okay, so my suggestion is that please, because you have gone through the paper. Suppose, for example, you want to review a literature of a particular paper. You know where from you will take the clue and start drafting the literature review. So you are much more competent enough as compared to a quill bolt or as compared to one. But yes, sometimes you can take, but in that case, in case of generally when you have some grammatical error, that you can check. But for rephrasing, I try to avoid it as much as possible. Because otherwise, there is a huge tendency I've seen among the students. They are copying the entire online version from a paper, put it in the quill bolt, rephrasing it, and then rewriting. And it in their thesis, put it in their project as of that they have written. Actually, this is not. Automatically, the main essence is being diluted. That is why my request is that in that. I already told you GPT-0. Okay, GPT-0 or Winston AI. Winston AI. Winston AI or GPT-0. Winston AI or GPT-0. You can take it. It is a free, but maximum 1,000 words you can check, or 500 words or 1,000 words you can check in a day, such that you can use. Okay.